God, like I said earlier, we're gonna take you back to the past to watch the shitty shows that suck ass. Pardon the AVGN reference there.
Oh, this sucked.
Wrestle Roll Rewind number 3 takes us into the darkness that is TNA's infancy.
Oh.
And
Can we at least get something hilarious like cheeks?
yeah,
No.
and yeah, this was the day when they were exclusively on weekly pay-per-view, and to give you a glimpse of how old this actually is, the only way we could actually watch this was an upload that somebody did of a VHS rip. Like, complete with some tracking errors and everything.
To give you an idea of the wonderful roster that they have, one of the better wrestlers on the roster was Toby Keith.
Yeah. And the intro vid looked like something that somebody made out of PowerPoint, seriously. Also, part of the intro vid was going through like iconic moments from the first year of TNA, including Shark Boy talking to New Jack while holding up a box of chutes and ladders.
That sounds like one of the great moments of TNA right there.
More on that in a bit. But also TNA, it should be noted, TNA was shown 3 times before the title, and we're not referring to the logo. Yeah, of course, TNA is supposedly stands for Total Nonstop Action, but that's actually a backronym, because originally the name was picked because tits and ass, we got sexy girls in go-go cages dancing.
That was literally the only reason guys would buy this pay-per-view, I guarantee it. Well, I guess if you're a wrestling purist, the X Division was pretty good.
Yeah, to show you the kind of class that we're dealing with here.
Class.
In this day and age, there was a stable led by Vince Russo called Sports Entertainment Extreme. Extreme spelled with an X. SEX.
Do we really have to go in order here of the matches? I mean, the first match was like the same match that they would do for the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, although it should be noted, this was in the days before they co-opted the 6 side of steels from the 6 sides from AAA.
So, that made them only moderately more interesting.
By the way, D'Lo Brown and the Sandman were in TNA at this time, and during the first match, Sandman seemed more interested in getting the audience drunk than anything else.
Honestly, I think that was partially because he knew what was coming for the rest of the show, and he wanted them to forget about it. Good job, Sandman.
I forget who the names of the 3 people who were representing Sports Entertainment Extreme were, but they were facing off against D'Lo Brown, Sandman, and TNA original Frankie Kazarian, all on the same team for some insane reason.
I got nothing for that one, dude.
And they actually won the match, but then they had a post-match beatdown by Sports Entertainment Extreme, only to set up Jeff Jarrett coming in to wreck shop, alongside a man who I thought had disappeared for 14 years.
By the way, it was representing Sonny Siaki, David Young, and Don Harris.
I should have remembered at least Sonny Siaki, because Sonny Siaki was actually pretty good. He was a member of the X Division in those early days, and he was actually pretty good. Yeah, of course, the notable thing about TNA in those early years was that the commentary team was Mike Tenay,
who, by the way, is a pretty good commentary, I'm just saying.
Yeah, and alumnus of WCW.
Yeah.
And this was one of the weirder decisions that they ever made for their commentary team. Don West. If you don't know who Don West is, Before being a part of the TNA commentary crew, he was primarily known as being a fast-talking hawker of various different forms of memorabilia on like the Home Shopping Network or some shit like that.
Honestly, he didn't do too bad. He really didn't do that bad.
His kind of high-energy bombast really actually was not that bad of a thing. Some people might think it might got a little annoying at some point, but if you're trying to sell up a show and you don't want to go the extreme hyperbole route of having like a Tony Schiavone, then having a high-energy guy who is a salesman by trade is not a bad way to go.
Well, they couldn't get Tony Schiavone there because, they knew it wasn't the greatest night in the history of their sport.
Well, at that point, it might have been.
Oh, jeez. Not when you're having not when you have this stable sports entertainment extreme. More on this a little bit later, but man.
And after this, while they're hawking this and showing some memorable moments from the first year of TNA, of course, the man, Russo himself, appears, and of course, he's just as big an ass as he ever was. Talking about how much better it is, quote, up north, because of course it's supposed to be an invasion from WWE without actually being an invasion from the WWE, because they couldn't say WWE, because if they did, Vince would have squashed that company far early.
In the South, it was kissing cousins. Oh my god.
And actually, at this point, TNA original and Ring of Honor stalwart AJ Styles was actually a part of his Sports Entertainment Extreme. AJ Styles is an interesting case because he's a good wrestler and he's okay on the microphone. The problem is he's never really been able to be a heel unless someone was with him to be his heel mouthpiece. Yeah. Otherwise, he's got kind of this charming southern drawl to his voice, and when he wrestles, his moveset certainly more befits a face because it is very high-flying, high-risk. And actually, Mike Tenay was in the ring interviewing the two of them, and he actually got into both AJ and Vince Russo's face, got into them, and it was actually kind of interesting, except for one tiny fact. Tenay is even less imposing and convincing than I am. And those of you who watch this show regularly know how imposing I am not. I refer you to the Shadowbird is not tough enough video.
But you gotta admit, Vince Russo definitely knows how to draw heat.
Yeah, he just has to act naturally. This segment ends with a wild raven appearing, only to get beaten up by Shane Douglas. We have a brief little segment about girls talking about how they're mad that they can't wrestle against men, which is something you would never see in any modern...
Was their tag team name really called Bitch Slap?
I don't know.
I thought I heard that. I swear, I heard their tag team was called Bitch Slap. That can't be right? I mean, I haven't checked the wiki or anything, whatever wrestling Wikipedia there is out there, but I thought I heard their name was called Bitch Slap.
I don't know, but it's not that women against wrestling against men cannot be a thing. I mean, God knows Chikara's done it in more recent times. But it's just, in the modern landscape of wrestling, it's not something that would be encouraged, even if you had wrestlers that could do it, like Charlotte, like Beth Phoenix, who I realize is now retired and having a family, like Awesome Kong. You have, even if you have wrestlers that could do it, it would never fly.
Kong you might.
But they never let it happen. Oh, by the way, fun fact, CM Punk was actually in TNA once.
Yeah.
And in fact, this was... he was looking for Raven in TNA, supposedly to join his faction at the time, although he was dissuaded by a couple of people because apparently Raven had been in a bad mood lately. But I think this was around the same time that CM Punk and Raven were actually feuding in Ring of Honor. So there was a little synchronicity there. Speaking of Ring of Honor alumni, Paul London! Going up against TNA original Chris Sabin for the X Division Championship.
Best match of the night, by far.
Yeah. Chris Sabin, also a part of Sports Entertainment Extreme, but still, this was a very good, solid, high-risk hat. As David mentioned earlier, the X Division has been TNA's bread and butter. It has been their high point. So... And even from the early days, I mean, it was kind of like the Cruiserweight division was in WCW, the eye in the center of the storm, for lack of a better phrase.
Or in this case, an F5 tornado. Holy shit, was this show bad? I'm sorry.
Yeah, but at the end of this, CM Punk actually comes out to beat down everybody, and also does a little Raven trolling by stealing some of Raven's mannerisms. You know, the outstretched crucifix pose, and stealing some of his lines, and doing the Raven effect DDT. Mm. By the way, I mentioned Shark Boy, New Jack, and Box of Chutes and Ladders earlier. Apparently, okay, let me rewind the tape a little bit here. Anybody who has heard the name New Jack in wrestling associates this man with brutality. This is one of the most infamous people to ever come out of ECW. I mean, one of the most noted incidences around him is the mass transit incident, where an underage kid lied, got into a wrestling match, and then I think actually died as a result of injuries in a match that he had that involved New Jack. So, you have him paired up with a wrestler who is dressed like a shark, who sometimes in the ring mimes biting people's asses, literally, and Shark Boy's wanting to play games with New Jack. Then you move into this match, which is called a Hard 10 match, which is the most confusing thing. It's like hardcore matches with a scoring system. I don't even remember what the scoring system is. It's so arcane. And it's been so long since I actually watched this thing. But you had to do certain things to get up to 10 points in order to win the match. And at one point, Shark Boy comes out wearing a couple of Incredible Hulk fists and goes to New Jack like, use it! Use it as a weapon! Use it! Use it to win the match! And New Jack's initially like, no, fuck off, I'll play with you later. But then, eventually he takes one of the Hulk fists, puts it on his hand, does a fist drop with the Hulk fist, and apparently this counts as a weapon.
Okay, the story regarding the mass transit incident, just to go backwards here, he did not die from the incident. He did die, however, I think 5 years later due to complications from gastric bypass surgery.
Oh, but he did get, like, really, really fucked up in that match, though.
He did, yeah, he did.
But yeah, apparently a foam rubber Incredible Hulk fist counts as a weapon. Steel chair, ladder, table, kendo stick, metal garbage can, Incredible Hulk fist. Moving on!
Yeah. By the way, Hard 10 match, worst hardcore rules ever.
Oh, and by the way, not only was that a Hulk punch, it was through a table.
I don't even...
Which apparently scored more points. We'll skip over the extended cheesecake promo, although, to be fair, Trinity was quite a looker. Next match, Just Incredible versus Jerry Lynn. This would have been a good match, except for one tiny little problem. Two tiny problems, actually. First problem, way too short.
Yeah.
And it basically ended in a great big brawl. And the actual match ending, this is the second thing. Just Incredible actually rolled up Jerry Lynn and then grabbed the rope for leverage. And then a brawl happened. And TNA sent out all their security forces, or, in a very, very questionable decision, their security forces were named Red Shirts. If any of you, most of us are probably familiar with Star Trek, so I don't think I have to explain why that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. We had this weird backstage segment that was introduced as an interview featuring Mike Tenay. Except Mike Tenay was being played by B.G. James, otherwise known as the Road Dogg Jesse James. He was interviewing Ron R-Truth Killings and Conan. And much awkward, quote, comedic, unquote, racism was had.
Call that comedy?
That's the quote marks.
Oh, yeah.
Also, they aired some more iconic moments, including a little person spanking it in a trash can. Keep it classy, TNA.
I remember that one. I think that one was on WrestleCrap, too. I got nothing, dude. I think this was about the point where... Okay, I also wanted to mention one other thing, too. I don't fully understand how TNA was able to find Jasmine St. Clair, striptease worthy.
I mean, it's not to say that they didn't have some lookers in those cages. The problem is, pretty much every break between matches, they cut to the go-go dancers. It's
like a reason for that.
It's like, okay, we get it. Ha ha, TNA, ha ha, you're so funny. Now can we have wrestling, please?
By the way, there was a promo there for Trinity.
I mentioned that. I don't know. I do know that when I actually started watching TNA, back in the Fox Sports Net days, when I had to worry about them being preempted by Texas high school basketball on my local Fox Sports Net affiliate.
Actually was the better option.
Thanks a lot, Texas. Actually, this was in the day when it was actually pretty good. We're talking like 2004, 2005. I would have to wait until like 2 a.m. in the morning on Saturdays in order to watch it. And like I said, sometimes it wouldn't air because they'd be showing scores from Texas basketball. I live in Oklahoma. The fuck do I care about Texas basketball? And then Oklahoma got its own Fox Sports Net affiliate, but that was long after TNA left. Anyway, next match was Perry Saturn versus Kenzo Suzuki, whom some of you who are WWE fans may know was in WWE for a while. Well, this was before WWE fucked him up. The problem was that Jerry Lynn and Just Incredible weren't quite done yet. They showed up still brawling, so match got thrown out. You can't see, but I just did the Spaceball salute. Hail Scroob!
Hey everyone, this is David. Like what you hear? Check us out on the internet at casualmodepodcast.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/casualmodepodcast, any one of our social media links, and of course, click on the little subscribe button below. Thanks!